Welcome to another episode of the Beard and the Bun podcast, YouTube video without anything to watch. This
YouTube
is
cast.
a tubecast.
Tubecast. That's a thing.
Yeah,
Starting now.
right now. I am one of the hosts of this multi-million millisecond show. My name is Brian, also known as the Beard.
And I'm Billy, the hot cross of your buns.
That's sexual.
Redo
Whatever.
it. What's up, Brian? How's it been going? Good week so far? Enjoying your September?
Hump day.
Hump
day.
True.
Yeah,
it's Wednesday while we're recording this.
Yeah, yep. The day of the camel.
Day of the camel. Joe Camel.
Yeah, because he's still around a lot.
Yeah, smoking's cool, kids.
Anyway, let's put down your vapes and get into this. So today we are going to have a two-part episode. The first episode, we are going to talk about an American flick. Is a flick synonymous with movie? Can you say flick if it's a TV show?
Good question. I would say definitely back in the day, flick was synonymous with movies.
But now Netflix.
Yeah, maybe that's
TV shows. So yeah, regardless, we're going to talk about Cobra Kai. Billy and I both chose a show for the other one to watch an episode of.
I just looked it up. Flick, you know when old projectors would they'd run? Yeah, exactly. So that was a flicker. So I don't know what that means as far as what we're talking about, but cool to know.
Yeah, super cool.
All right, yeah. So this will be kind of like a book club, but it'll be a video club. Brian and I
full of guys that can't read.
Oh yeah, dudes only.
Yeah,
no dames allowed. Get your gams out of here.
Circle with an arrow at 2:00.
All of your pronouns are wanted here. But we're always even in our last podcast, we're always sort of referring and recommending things to each other that we think we'll like. And it's fun to do that because you find something cool in the millions of streaming and non-streaming television and movies and etc. going on. Even if it's a podcast or book or comic or whatever, you want to share it and prove its value and prove your value as a person for liking it and turning people onto it. So Brian and I each picked episode 1 of a series we are both watching and had the other watch it. So which one did you want to do first?
Let's go ahead and do Cobra Kai. Netflix. It's on Netflix now. I think it was a YouTube original.
Yeah, YouTube was doing a lot of, original content or whatever, and I couldn't tell you any other thing that they did. I just kept
Ascension. David Blaine.
Oh, okay. That was so. What is it called? YouTube Red? Is that what that is?
Yeah. It's a paid subscription model for YouTube where you don't get any ads.
Okay.
But you also get access to the shows and maybe movies.
So if you bought it, you could just watch your regular YouTube stuff, anything, just without ads, but also have access to the shows.
I believe so.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and I had kept hearing this Cobra Kai show was great, and when you hear that they're making a Cobra Kai show 30 years later, I just assumed it was going to be the same old thing. Cobra Kais are the bad guys. Daniel's son is the good guy. Maybe it'll have their kids involved. Maybe it'll be rival karate schools, And then you hear that they are flipping that on its head, sort of. And I gave it a try after our buddy Mike recommended it, because Mike sort of has a very discriminating taste when it comes to television. And Jessica and I, my wife, loved it, and we sort of binged within like 2 weeks.
Did you say Jessica and my wife?
My wife.
My
Remember that?
wife.
My wife, bringing it back.
Sleeve of a wizard.
Yeah, and it's I make her watch a bunch of fighting related things, usually superheroes or martial arts stuff. But she really likes this for obvious reasons. It's great character work. It's funny but not goofy. Uh, there's super crazy character arcs. The way where people start in the first episode to I think it's episode 10 is the season finale, episode 1 where they end up without spoiling anything. It's great. Like it's not what you think is going to happen. It's predictable in the way that stories should be predictable, but it's not
It's not a
everybody doesn't get what they
direct,
want.
yeah, and it's not necessarily the direct, at least from the first episode. It's not, if you watch the movie Karate Kid 30 years ago, 25 years ago, 5 years ago, it's not necessarily what you would think would be the future for those two athletes, competitors.
So what did you think maybe what would be another route that they could have taken, do you think? I would say 1984. So this movie came out the year I was born, so it's 36 years old. Wowza.
I thought
Wowza. These
it
guys
would have
look
been,
great for being that old.
how old are they? Like 50s?
Well, if I'm 36, they were definitely older than 14, so they're in their 50s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's an age. That is
Yeah.
an age.
Still kicking and punching and
So
stuff.
I thought, I mean, obviously you wouldn't make a show out of this, but if you asked me before this was ever a concept, hey, where do you think those two guys are? I would have said like, yeah, I think they have dojos on the opposite ends of towns and they still compete and they're just like bitter old. I could have seen Danielson becoming like real full of himself and
Okay.
getting, maybe gaining an attraction. All the like top level prospects come to him, and then other guy from Cobra Kai gets like all the gritty fighters.
So they'd both be running rival schools, which, as we get in episode 1, neither of that is true. The start, neither of them are really have anything to do with karate. How do you want to do this? Do you just want to talk about it chronologically? Do you want
Yeah.
to just give me your thoughts on it? We don't need to summarize it, I guess.
So I mean, it's one of the age old stories of how a kid's life is ruined from one specific event revolving around sports,
Oh yeah.
and he just kind of, they went back and showed how his sensei was kind of a big jerk and really pushed him around and stuff. And um
Which was, I think, not the ending of the first movie, but the very beginning of the second movie, if I remember correctly. The parking lot scene where he's trying to choke him out.
yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if that, yeah, I don't know if that's true, but
And the nice thing is you don't have to go watch those. If you haven't seen those movies in 20 years, you don't have to go get a refresher. They give you little glimpses back that are just enough
right.
to get the wheels spinning in your head. Like, oh, I kind of remember that. But even if you have never seen it, you'll kind of get where the grown man is coming from. And it's kind of seems like he probably went on a binger um, after that tournament, even though he wasn't of age. So don't do that.
Well, in the 80s,
Yeah,
18-year-olds, no problem
yeah, yeah,
drinking.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah. So if basically the rundown of Karate Kid 1, Danielson's a kid from New Jersey. I think they're all seniors in high school. Kid from New Jersey moves to California, having a hard time fitting in, is with a single mom, no dad. Meets a girl that he likes. The girl happens to be ex-girlfriends with this guy, Johnny, who's a karate dude at a Cobra Kai, the biggest school
Yeah,
in the
he's your 80s, 90s jock jerk, like big
but
man on campus. Just
what's
instead of
interesting,
quarterback, he's the karate kid.
yeah, but what's interesting is if you rewatch that movie, and there's been some dudes on YouTube that have done like 5 minute.
They're reverse bullying. It's Danielson.
Yeah, Daniels is the bully. It's
Yeah.
crazy. You don't think of it that way because
That's not
or
how movies
Johnny's
are
like the
supposed to
big
be.
guy, the blonde hair, and well, they can be, but it's he's the Daniel's really the antagonist and Johnny's a protagonist because the protagonist sort of wants things in the status quo to stay the same. Johnny wants to get back with his girlfriend like he was. He wants to keep doing karate. Even at the beginning of the movie, he says something like, I'm doing good this year. One of his friends like tries to get him to do something. He says, I'm not a degenerate. I'm turning my life around. Daniel's son, or not Daniel's son, Daniel LaRusso comes in, swipes his girl, picks a fight with him, and things happen. They get in a fight. Daniel throws the first punch, hits him after Johnny's trying to like non-violently handle him. Daniel torments him at the dance, which gets him beat up. Da 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 da.
You're allowed to be mean to people if they're mean to you first, right?
Uh, well, who was mean to who first?
Yeah, I don't remember the movie, but you don't need to go
Yeah,
watch it. So
yeah. I mean, it's a very good movie, as a lot of those '80s movies were. But yeah, it's interesting looking back on it. And this story is told through, or at least most of us told through Johnny's perspective. He's a down on luck dude. Down on luck dude, as Brian said, he sort of never got over the losing the tournament. Um, and as you can see, he sort of wakes up hungover. He's watching old '80s movies. He listens to Guns N' Roses. He still has his old, uh, what is it, a Chevy Charger car. He
yeah, and
drinks Coors Light. Like
it's
he's
set modern
complete.
day.
Yeah, yeah. This is modern day, of course. They're 55-ish years old. 2000. I guess the first season 2018. So one of them's completely living in the past. Can't get over high school, this high school failure, the last karate tournament, and just can't jump over. Where Daniel, Brian, what did you
He's
think
on
about
the
where Daniel ended up?
So the tough thing about some movies is there's commercials, and in some of those commercials, it's actually Daniel's son all grown up, and he's marketing his car dealerships, multiple car dealerships, doing real well in suits, throwing high kicks.
Yeah,
Um, they
successful LaRusso autos, get a
yeah they
bonsai tree with every purchase.
yep they kick they like chop prices down or something. It's all success correlated with karate, and you can tell that that's where Johnny wants to be. He loves karate. That's, I mean, he was. I could see him being the sensei that he actually, spoiler, becomes at the end of the episode. But there's a lot of parallels between Johnny in this Cobra Kai episode one and Mr. Miyagi from back in the first movie of Karate Kid.
Well, how Johnny meets the kid, and so yeah, Johnny's living in a crappy apartment in California. He's working as like a repairman, good at his job, just doesn't take it too seriously. Is hungover most days, isn't a great people person, ends up getting fired. But he has an annoying kid who just moved into a complex named Miguel.
Now, to backtrack just a little bit, you do start to feel bad for him because he gets fired because he calls some woman a bitch, and
But he
the
doesn't call her a bitch. He says you're acting bitchy or something.
yeah
Which
yeah
still,
yeah
you shouldn't
yeah.
do that to an employee. But he's he's
But
definitely an old school, like not PC guy, which is another thing he's living in the past.
and also when you watch the episode, you'll see that the reason that it came to that terminology was, I mean, it was obviously miscommunication, but it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all she was being not nice and was disrespectful to him because he was just a lowly blue collar worker. Which, as a blue collar worker, in my past, I've seen firsthand, which is not cool. But yeah, you don't get to call people a bitch, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, so then that leads him back to
Oh,
his
and
apartment
watching.
complex.
Yeah, yeah. Go
What's
ahead.
up?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's where he meets Miguel, who what does he say for the first? What does he say? Another foreigner or something for
Yeah.
the first time?
He's like, I'm
He's
from
like,
the other side of town or something. Just moved here from wherever.
yeah. Whose his parents are his mom lives with his mom and grandmother. They're Mexican, but he's you know
Spoiler
he's
alert.
English born. He's an
Um,
American.
yeah, yeah. But so then you get to meet his, I guess, stepfather. Who was he in the
Yes.
first movies?
No. And you'll learn more about him as the first season goes on, but no. It gives, and that's another. It's making you feel sorry for Johnny.
Because he
Whereas,
stands at his morals. He doesn't really want help, even though you really want him to take help. His father-in-law offers him some money, and you're like, take the damn money. Like, you're not doing so swell. Pay
yeah,
for a new car or something, because his just got towed, and that's, if we're fast forward a little bit, his car gets towed to Daniel LaRusso's car dealership, the Karate Kid's car dealership. And once he realizes it, he throws the hood up,
well,
sunglasses on.
why does it get towed?
Oh yeah, we skipped that part. Well, so
So after Johnny gets fired, he does what any uh, hanging by a thread 55-year-old dude
would
would
do.
do.
And this
Just
part grossed me out, especially in the COVID era that we're living in, when the guy manhandles his pizza.
oh yeah, at the gas station. I was talking about drunk driving. He was drunk driving, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's why Russo has his car. So I
yeah,
guess that's after the gas station part that you're talking about,
yeah.
right?
So when,
Because he still has his car then.
just for, to try and stay in some chronological order, let's talk about the gas station scene, and then
So
we'll
Johnny
come
gets
back to everything.
fired. Yeah. So Johnny gets fired. Brian was talking about how he's obviously short on money, doesn't want to take any handouts from his stepfather because his stepfather's a jerk. It alludes to his mom being passed away. I will tell you one thing, which was a great line. He eventually pays back his stepfather for all the money he's ever been loaned. And he's like, I don't need your help anymore. And the stepfather's like, you always needed my money. And Johnny's like, that's because that's the only thing you had to give. And then boom. And I was like, oh, that's a great line. But yeah, so Johnny grew up in a big house, but his stepfather was a jerk. He kind of got bullied at home, which led him to karate. Completely different than Daniel, who didn't have a father, but his mom was awesome and was just looking to become a psychopath killer and wanted to learn karate.
So they're at the gas station, and getting his, he can barely afford the one slice of pizza and a drink, and the guy pulls the pizza out of this little, like, warming unit that you see at some gas stations, and his fingers are all on the sauce and the cheese, and Johnny snatches out of his hands, and he's pretty grossed out too. But
Yeah.
if you were to eat some pizza that was handled like that, would you eat it right now?
Right now, no, I wouldn't. I don't think I could eat that
Under
unless
nor-
it was like a family member or friend doing that. Yeah, that's gross. All you need is a spatula or some plastic gloves. Usually, those places, I feel like you can get your own food, but maybe I mean, I don't eat at gas stations unless it's Wawa, so I don't really know.
Shout out to Wawa, way better than Sheets, you
Shout out, yeah,
Northerners.
best gas station food around USA.
Yeah,
A-OK.
made to order. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Sheets is gross. Mustard my face.
Tastes like sheets.
So yeah, so Johnny's sitting outside. He doesn't even take his food home. He just sits outside on the curb of the. It's like a shopping center,
Getting
crappy shopping center.
heckled by homeless hobo girl
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She
who
comes
kind of
back at some
reminded
point.
me, she, at first glance, she reminded me of, did you ever watch Sunny in Philadelphia? It was
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Dennis and Dee's cousin, the slug
Oh, yeah.
or the
That's
snail. She's like,
yeah, yeah. She's a you recognize her from other
yeah,
stuff too. It's not that girl. Yeah, but
yeah,
I'm looking at it right now on my Netflix. But yeah, she's a good homeless lady. She does it well.
yeah.
And then Brian, so Johnny's eating his gross pizza, uh his beverage, and who does he run into who he
Miguel
just met earlier?
Torres.
Miguel. Miguel's buying some Pepto for his G-mom, I
because she
think.
got a bellyache.
Bellyache. And
And
then we're introduced to some bullies.
yeah, yeah. They walk into the gas station after Miguel, and like Billy was saying, they're big bullies, so they start to shove Miguel out of there, and they take his Pepto Bismol and dump it all over his head.
Yeah, I think they
Um,
said something about he screwed up their fake. They were trying to buy a beer with a fake ID, and he maybe
yeah,
said, "Hi, I know you're from class" or something, and screwed it up. I don't know. But yeah, they're just being jerks. There's three of them, and Johnny's just sort of watching it all happen, not doing anything until
dun dun dun. They push him on his car, his beater,
yeah,
his
that's
POS.
that's hilarious. He doesn't do anything until that bully pushes Miguel into Johnny's car, and he says something like, "Hey, watch the car," and leave the kid alone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, like any bullies do, I guess. I don't really know if this is a thing, but there's four of them. There's one of him, and they circle him, and then he busts out his moves that you're just assuming he hasn't done in 25 years, and high
Yeah, and he's
kicking.
wearing jeans.
Yeah, and he throws like a spinning high kick and like grabs
That's
his
his
groin.
first move. His
Yeah,
first move is a jumping snap kick, I think, to the
it's
guy's
like a
face. Like,
supple leopard.
yeah, that's the his no, that's his initiating blow. It's hilarious.
It's
But
like
no, he
Verdum,
beats the shit. These
Verdum,
guys.
Verdum
Yeah,
versus
exactly.
Travis Brown.
Yeah, not as graceful, but yeah, it's just as effective. And I like the fight. The fight was good. He's throwing some good kicks, and he even like headbutts a dude at the end, which I loved. Like I think I audibly was like, "Yeah, that's what you should be doing. Just headbutt these knuckleheads."
Yeah,
I
so
think he even hits him with an elbow at some point.
yeah, he was throwing out some Muay Thai there. It wasn't all karate, and it's it was quality fight, quality fight.
But it shows you that this is what 80s karate was. Like that was a real thing. Like karate was really old, like dudes beating up little kids in karate class. Like there was way different back then than what it is now. Like karate, they threw elbows. I didn't even understand the rules to the tournaments. Like you could hit people with elbows if they were on the ground. It was just not a lot of like punches to the face, but you could kick to the face. So weird. But this one, but anyway, Johnny ends up getting thrown in jail. He gets bailed out by his stepdad, I assume. I forgot. And
Yeah,
then
and that's
Miguel.
how he meets him at home. So we're
Okay.
we're going way out of order, but yeah,
Yeah,
you,
we are.
you should watch the show. It's I mean it's a great
Yeah.
show. It like
And
we
then
said it.
we'll get to it. We'll wrap it up soon. But that's when Miguel, the bully who Johnny wasn't paying any mind to at the beginning of the show, lives in his condo. The boy who was getting bullied goes up to Johnny and asks him for.
What'd you say?
And what does Miguel want from Johnny?
The Abysmal? No, I don't remember. He
He asks him to
wants.
train him. He
Oh
wants
yeah,
him to
yeah,
train him in karate. He sees him beat up those three or four bullies, and he's like,
yeah,
"Yo, can
yeah.
you train me?" Like da da da. And he just makes fun of him, says, "You can't. You're not Cobra Kai material or whatever."
And
Then
that's
his
just
stepdad
Daniel's
came.
son Miyagi. That's that all over again, right?
Yeah, but I think Miyagi sort of handled it a little differently. A little few less ethnic slurs and things like that.
Yeah, it's 25 years later.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
35.
that would have been more norm. I almost said appropriate. Definitely not
Yeah.
appropriate, but it would have
And
been
then,
almost more the norm.
so then the stepdad comes in, offers him the check. Johnny rips it up, is drinking, sees the LaRusso car commercial. This really messes him up. He goes for a joyride in his car, drunk, drinking while driving. Bunch of flashbacks to Karate Kid 1 where Johnny meets Daniel and Miyagi in the dojo. He thinks about his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, who Daniel ends up stealing from him. And he parks outside of the old All Valley Sports Arena where the big karate tournaments took place.
And that's where he flashes back to getting his sensei like choking him out. It's just
Yep.
traumatic times while he's
Oh
drunk. He's
yeah.
just kind of falling down that hole.
He's gotten fired from his job. his stepdad came back into his life and tried to give him a hand or hand him some money because that's what always happens. He
Mm-hmm.
he's just sort of falling apart. He does beat up some bullies, so that's cool, but they were making fun of him. Goes to jail, and then what happens to his nice parked car?
His nice parked car gets hit by some young women who you are assuming, I think, were like texting and driving or something right in the parking lot.
Well, yeah, the one driving was definitely texting and driving, I think.
And
Yeah.
you get a good look at the three of them, and he's infuriated. He's drunk. He's already a short fuse kind of guy. He's trying to get into the car. They're all screaming. They peel out of there, and he just can't get his car moving.
Yeah. Bum, bum, bum. So it has to get towed. He doesn't know where it's getting towed to until
He
he
said
gets
it's on
handed
the
the card.
yeah.
Or yeah, the guy drives away. Then he looks at the card and it says LaRusso Auto, which of course, if he knew that before, he wouldn't have let the guy tow it. But here we are. The next day, Johnny has to go meet his old rival Danielson
Well, he
to
really
try
tries
and get
not
his
to.
car. Yeah, he wears sunglasses and a hood, tries to stay inconspicuous, and actually tries to get his car taken out of the lot before they can even work on it because he doesn't want anything to do with possibly seeing Daniel or possibly letting him help him or anything like that. But of course, doesn't happen that way. The two meet each other, and yeah, I mean, when I was first hearing about that show, I thought it was going to be a complete flip. I thought Johnny was going to be the good guy, Daniel was the bad guy. Which even in this first episode, you can see Daniel's, he's a good guy. Like he's not a bad guy.
He's a little cocky, but and I mean, you as the viewer know the hard times that what's his name's been going through.
Yeah,
Johnny,
we see the build up to that where
yeah,
you
you're
only
privy to
see.
that. But I mean, you if you're Daniel, you're in the suit. The other guy's like not. He looks down on his luck. So when
Yeah,
he
yeah,
calls his
yeah,
buddies over and starts talking about how he like kicked him in the face, and at first he's not really like laying it on thick, but then he really gets into it to a
yeah.
degree.
He's
And
like he's like, how are you? How you been? Crazy. And then he's like, yeah, I come over here. Why don't you meet this guy? But he doesn't say this is the guy B. He says, when I first moved here from Jersey, this guy was bullying me, blah blah blah. And then one of his, I don't know if it's cousin or his other buddy, is like, oh, is this the guy you kicked in the face or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah,
Or no, what did he say? Is this the guy whose butt you kicked? He's actually, it was a kick to the face or something. And that's when Johnny's like, that was an illegal kick or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. And so then I they kind of back off each other, and Daniel's like, listen, I'll give you the family discount. He's like, just leave it here. Let me do this for you. And Johnny finally gives in. And as he's starting to walk out the door, he's like, oh, wait, Johnny. He turns around. He's like, everybody gets one. And he hands him the bonsai tree. And
Yeah. Yeah.
then Johnny kind of has the epiphany of starting Cobra Kai back up.
Well, right
Smashes.
before that, an important part is someone comes in to visit Daniel right when Johnny's leaving.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, they do. It's someone's daughter who was in a car. Someone's daughter was in a car that hit Johnny's car, and it's
Yeah.
Daniel's daughter.
So Daniel's daughter comes in, says hi to her dad. Johnny recognizes her, not from driving, but she was in the car that T-boned his car and drove
Yep.
away the night before.
Yeah.
So he just let Daniel.
Oh, he now owes Daniel one in his head because
Yeah,
his daughter's friends knocked him down a notch
yeah.
by
That's a
running
lot of
into his
this
car.
first season. Every time you think it's like squashed and they're even, like something happens, and usually it's like a miscommunication, and it's like, oh no, they're gonna try and get back, and then it just escalates and escalates, even to when you think they're finally good, just no, never ends. It's crazy. And
So,
then yeah, so right, Johnny gets the idea to get Cobra Kai, smashes the bonsai tree in the parking lot, goes back, searches in his trash can for what?
a beer bottle.
No, the check that tore in half that his
Yeah, yeah,
stepdad
yeah.
gave him.
It's definitely voided, right?
I don't know how that works. I'm sure his stepdad's assuming he's going to cash it. So, I mean, if you did some online mobile banking, you never know, but I'm sure he did.
Yeah, maybe.
And he goes back to the same shopping center, which the gas station is, where he beat up those bullies, which I assume is really close to his house. Rents a place, starts Cobra Kai, strike first, strike hard, no mercy.
And then tells Miguel that he's now his sensei.
Oh
Like,
yeah, what does Miguel says?
you're my
Are you
master or
gonna?
something? Are you gonna be my teacher?
Yeah, you're gonna be my teacher. And he says, no, I'm gonna be your. Oh, you're gonna be my karate teacher? No, I'm gonna be your sensei.
Yeah.
And he says like, I'm looking at it now. A method of fighting. I'm gonna teach you a method of fighting your pussy generation desperately needs.
Yeah.
He's so like, yeah, he's so old school. It'd be like if Bill Burr like did like a karate school or something. Gonna teach
Versus
you how to
like
conquer your fears. Teach
John
you quick.
Mulaney.
Oh jeez, yeah.
That would be great.
That's a good sequel or a good spin-off. I would watch Bill Burr beat up John Mulaney.
They just
Nothing
open
against
up.
John Mulaney, but
No, hilarious.
you'll build
We
strength. You'll
Little
learn
side note.
discipline.
I was at a deli that has one of those jukeboxes that you can sign up on through an app, and one of my buddies signed on and played "What's Up, Pussycat?" Wow, wow, wow,
Uh,
like 20 times in a row. So the restaurant
oh
just
God.
unplugged it.
Yeah, what a jerk.
But that's one of his jokes. That's one of John Mulaney's jokes.
I don't think I've seen any of this stand-up
He's
before.
got one or two on Netflix. You should watch them. Worth it.
I'll give him a chance. I haven't watched a stand-up special in a while. Sort of like went overboard. Sort of got burnt out.
All right. Well, I think that brings us to
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
our next one. And something I kind of had the idea of doing is keeping with like an American made. Not necessarily. We're trying to focus around martial arts, fighting in general. So all these shows will have some type of combat in them. And I went for a Japanese variety, which is called anime. When like it's not we watch cartoons in America, they watch anime. When I say they, I mean
So
Japanese people.
all Japanese animation is anime, even if it's like not fighting related, not martial
That's
arts
my
related.
understanding. I may be ignorant though. Well, I am
Yeah, I guess like
ignorant, but I'm not
Pokemon's
sure.
anime. I don't know.
Yeah. So this was written and illustrated by George Morikawa, and it's funny because
What's it called?
oh
What's the
yeah,
name
yeah,
of it?
yeah. I'm gonna go with Hajime no Ippo. It's
I
H
think that's
A
right.
J I M E space N-O space IPPO, and it's all about boxing.
Yeah.
But
Ippo is the kid's name, right?
um, yeah, I believe it is.
I think it's Ippo and Takamura is the
It's
coach.
definitely Ippo. Um, I don't know. Kamagawa. Oh no, it's the retired boxer.
I'm pretty
Takamura.
sure that
Takamura.
Takamura is the boxer and Ippo is the kid. So I don't know
Yeah.
what the title translates to, but
Yeah.
something Ippo.
So basically it starts off with this youngster. I don't know if he's middle school or high school, but he's in some type of grade school, and he works with his mom at a fishing place where they
They
give
do like
tours.
boat tours, fishing tours and stuff.
And he is kind of the muscle of the business, so he carries all the coolers and the packs and is just moving a lot of weight while his mom sets up the boat and gets things ready on the other end.
Yeah, his mom seems like the fisherman, and he helps her load the boat, unload the boat, things
Yeah.
like that.
She goes out on the boat she gives the tours or the guides, and he stays home, goes to school, things of that nature. And another story of a kid that gets bullied. So he's just a super nice guy, seems like maybe a little naive, probably doesn't have a like malicious bone in his body outside of sport. And we don't even know that he plays any sport. So he just
And
goes to
he,
school, comes
why
home, and
would you
works.
say, yeah, why would you say he doesn't have any friends or gets bullied?
So when he goes home the second time, he has to rush home after being invited out to a show because he has to help his mom get ready for another fishing tour.
Yeah, so I think that was a good thing to add that he's not like a jerk or he's not like a complete like outcast. Like he gets invited to do things with his classmates.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say it's probably high school, but he just is so busy helping his mom. And so, obviously it doesn't seem like there's a dad in the picture. I don't know if you find out more about that later. So he doesn't have like a strong male role model. His mom's a single mom, and he just spends most of his free time helping her, it seems. Doesn't have a lot of time for friends,
So
romance.
yeah, oftentimes he's leaving school and just trying to head straight home to help out. And in this one instance, he's going home, and these three or four bullies kind of force him to go under this bridge on his way home, and they just beat up on him. And at one point, the one of the bullies says something about his mom smelling bad. He bets she smells like fish or something. And you could see like he just had this instant of pure anger. But then, like I said, he doesn't have a malicious bone in his body really, so he
Does he
didn't
clench his
fight back.
fist or
I
no?
know he like clenches his jaw, but I don't know. I don't recall a fist. Um, but he doesn't even stand up. But you can tell like after he's been
Right.
beaten, they say that, and it's like he looks to have energy and everything. He doesn't stand up. He's just doesn't want to fight. He's a lover, not a
Yeah, it's
fighter.
almost like the bullies want him to fight back. They're like, even if he fought back and got his ass whooped even more, I feel like they would respect him. And he just
Or maybe
doesn't
they would
even.
feel less bad about it because they're just beating up a guy who's laying
Maybe.
there.
Yeah. I don't,
So
doesn't seem like they feel too bad about it.
while
But
this is
yeah,
happening,
they're,
uh, an older gentleman, and by older I just mean older than high school students, is running by and kind of watches this go down. And he steps in and pretty much outclasses them to the nth degree. And while they're all swinging at him, he sidesteps and ducks and rolls and gets to the other side of all three of them. And they make some comment like, "Is that all you got? You didn't even do anything." And then all their shirts open up because he ripped all their buttons off. It's like a typical anime thing from my experience where that's never going to happen. But in these
yeah,
shows
it's,
that mostly kind of portray like potential real life situations, they tie in these little things that aren't real at all.
yeah, it just shows that he didn't throw one punch. He bobbed and weaved and slipped all their punches, and at the same time, with his hand speed and sleight of hand, ripped all their buttons off. Which I don't know. Maybe in Japanese culture, it's more of like you destroyed my shirt too. That's messed up.
Well, I think it's
I don't know.
harder to defeat people like gently than it is hard. So he showed them like, yeah, I can do this easy without any
Yeah,
effort.
and I
But
don't think he gets his kicks just beaten up unskilled high
yeah.
school kids. So he just
Well,
wanted to end it.
so the Ippo passes out, and the boxer carries him to his gym where Ippo wakes up.
Yeah, he was out for like, what was he out for, like an hour? Just knocked unconscious
Probably.
for an hour? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And
He
then
wakes
when
up
he,
with like bandages all over him, like Takamura like fixed him up and
yeah.
did some first aid on him.
And one of the other fighters there is like, "Hey champ, he's up." And Takamura walks over to him and basically has a conversation with him like, "You didn't fight back at all, like you're not a fighter." And he's like, "Well, show me how to throw a punch." So he punches the bag, doesn't do much, and then
He just
Takamura
like
gives
arm
him
punches it. Yeah.
Takamura gives him like two technique tips, and he hits it.
But
The
what does he
first
say?
time, it's a
What's
little
his
bit
technique
more.
tip?
He rolls his shoulder, steps forward, plants his foot, turns his hip turns the hand over and punches through the bag, and the bag goes flying. I mean, the bag pretty much becomes parallel with the ground. This is a heavy bag, so we're thinking at least 75 pounds.
He surprises everybody. He puts his hips into it, rolls his shoulder, and just like whips into the cross and sends the bag like flying. And everybody's like, "Whoa!"
And then he shows his hand, and his knuckles are just shredded.
But
Because
he doesn't
sometimes
care.
those,
He's like so excited. Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like, "I did it! It felt so great. I feel alive."
yeah. So then Takamura's like, you can tell he's impressed, but also like, what the hell? Like, why is this
Yeah.
guy's knuckles are all torn up? So he goes and wraps those up, and then tells him to get out of there. He's not going to coach him. Um, and then by the time Ippo gets home, it's real late. He picks
But what
up
does he
like,
send him with? He sends him home with some stuff.
oh, some videos, some knockout videos, best
Yeah,
like
some old
KOs.
boxing videos. Yeah. Just old stuff. You can tell Ippo's not familiar with boxing really at all. He and the guy sort of, I mean, he doesn't play any sports, is what he says. And he says he's too busy at home, doesn't have time to be on a team. So
Yeah.
so he sends him home with some boxing tapes, and he immediately goes home.
And he helps his mom load up the boat, and he's picking up. I think one of the guys is like, those coolers are filled with ice. He's like, let me help you. He's like, no, I got him. He just lifts him up, no issue. And that's just portraying his strength from working at home.
Yeah, wanting to help mom, not thinking twice. And you can tell like the way they drew him, he's not a tall dude, like he's shorter than his mom, he's shorter than
Yeah,
most of his classmates, but he's wide without being, he's got big forearms, broad shoulders, like he's not like drawn scrawny. The way he just acts, or his character acting is he's always like sort of rolled over at the shoulders, he doesn't stand up straight, like he's very
yeah,
meek in his uh, not appearance, but he's meek in his demeanor.
definitely. And so like Billy said, the mom goes on the tour, and Ippo throws in those tapes and is glued to the TV. They give like a little montage of him watching all of them. He's looking at magazines in class. The teacher calls him out, and it's one of those tricks where he has the magazine inside the book, and then he gets caught off
Classic.
guard. So he shows everybody, and he's just diving in deep to this. Then he catches up to Takamura, who's on a little run, which is what he was doing when he saw Ippo getting beat up by the bullies.
Yeah, what's neat is he goes on the same trail or walking path or whatever home from school every day. And the first time we see him do it, where he ends up getting beat up by those dudes, it's like a bright blue sky, sunny day, and he's just walking with his head down, blah 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 blah. And this time he leaves school, and it's like the sun setting, the sky's orange, and he's just like sprinting home. He's just like running. He can't wait to like find Takamura and you know try to get into boxing.
Yeah, so he's trying to get in, and Takamura is like, I don't, I hate bullies, but what I dislike even more is people who don't stand up for themselves. And Ippo pleads his case. Takamura kind of gives in, but he basically says like, you have to do this one challenge before I'll consider coaching you. He
Oh
takes
yeah.
him to a tree. Takamura punches the tree. A bunch of leaves start to fall down. Takamura is just throwing jabs, maybe some crosses out there, lightning quick. And when he comes back, his hands are full of leaves. He just snatched them all out of the air while they were falling. And he said, like, you're going to have to do this, be able to do this if you want me to coach you. End scene.
Yeah, that was great because I mean it's a good cliffhanger. The character has the call to action. He has the easy way, or he has a definitive way of how he can start boxing, but we don't know if he actually succeeds. And it has nothing to do with stepping to a ring or getting punched or even punching. It's just a little test that who knows? I mean, I've watched the second episode. It might take him a long time to figure this out.
Yeah.
But I
And
really like the. I thought the animations were great. You could tell they really studied like actual boxing. I read that they sort of drew Ippo sort of off old Mike. This was made in 1989, I think. They made Ippo off of old Mike Tyson, sort of like short and stout and
so that's when I
big giant
think the
forearms.
comic book or the manga was written, but I don't think the first episode aired
Oh,
until like 2000, the anime.
oh,
I think.
okay. You might be right. So that's when the comic was written. So, okay,
Yeah, it's
2000.
been around for a while and I still think they're coming out with new issues.
Okay, okay, cool.
So yeah,
Yes,
so that's
it was.
episode 1 of Cobra Kai and Hajime no Ippo. What were your overall thoughts,
Equal.
Billy?
Well, I'm obviously a fan of Cobra Kai since I was the one who got you involved in that, and we're like halfway through season two. I'm interested to see where that goes for sure. I heard that so YouTube had done the first two seasons, Netflix bought it, and then Netflix is making a season three. So that's good to hear. I definitely would watch some more Hajime no Ippo. Seems like there's a lot of freaking episodes. I see like 104 on YouTube right now. I don't know if I have time to watch all of that, but I definitely would watch the next couple episodes and skip around and watch some clips because I really like the animation. I think there's not many like straight up boxing. I mean, I don't watch any anime, but I don't not familiar with too many like straight up boxing cartoons. You know what I
No.
mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely not.
Definitely a lot of martial arts or, even if it's a cartoon about an existing property like in Avengers or something, there's not just like a straight up boxing where so much time is just spent on the punching and footwork and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think this show does great. It seems
So
that I mean, do you know if the writers or anybody were had familiarity with boxing or they just did their homework?
I don't know. Um, I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you that there's 76 episodes.
76. I
And
see 104, but maybe there's two parters or something. Oh, my bad. Wait, no, I don't know. That's weird. Maybe some are English subs and some are English language. Whatever,
yeah,
but it's
and
cool. I
one
mean, it's all
thing
free on YouTube in HD.
I told you, which is what I'd recommend to others, is that if you're gonna watch this, the English voiceover is no bueno. So don't watch that. Bite the bullet. Watch it with the Chinese talk. You get more um, emotion
In
from it.
Japanese?
Sorry, yes, Japanese, but with the English subtitles.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
looking at
listened
the
to a little bit of the English ones in it. Yeah, it was pretty whack. The language. I like the
yeah,
subtitles better.
and I'm looking at the Wikipedia, and there's 20. Where is it? The first season of this is, yeah, I think it's actually 76 episodes. 76 episodes, but then they re-upped it. So the first run went from 2000 to 2003, and then
Uh-huh.
season 2, so there's 76 episodes in season 1. And season 2 started in 2009. Because a lot of these anime shows, they I mean they've been making them forever, but Americans are kind of just finding out about them and they're really
Hmm.
gaining popularity again. So you're going to be seeing a big influx of those card mangas being turned into anime. And then there's a
Yeah,
season
and
3, which was 2013 to 14.
Asian boxing in the real world, real life boxing is flourishing. Like there's so many great Asian boxers, including Russia and Kazakhstan and stuff. So
Yeah.
Who knows? This might turn into a movie starring Bobby Lee
versus the Red Rocket. There's
in the
actually
movie.
already, I think, 4 movies.
Oh,
Everyone that lasts this long almost always has a movie associated with it.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's just basically like making 5 episodes, and you can charge a lot more for it and tell a
Well,
singular giant story.
they're usually considered not canon, which means it doesn't follow a lot of. So when you read like an American comic book, there's chapters that don't necessarily align with, like, you can read a chapter
Like
that has,
standalone stories.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Batman has over 1,000 comics, but they're not necessarily chronological order. Like, you don't need to read them all. But a
I mean,
lot of
that's
these,
just Detective Comics. Batman
yeah,
has
yeah,
like
yeah.
10 titles.
But a lot of these Japanese comics and cartoons, they're all in succession. So it's really helpful to watch them because it's all based off previous episodes. So the movies often don't really fall in line with the anime. They usually bring in new,
Huh.
the antagonists are often like completely different than anybody in the actual show.
That's good
And the,
because if it's exclusively in theaters or something and you don't see it in theaters, you don't want to not understand your favorite show you're
yeah,
watching.
and they'll often like put them in different outfits so they can sell different like toys and stuff.
Of
Um,
course.
yeah, so there's a lot going on there, and they're usually not as good as the shows. They're like too over the top
Yeah.
because
I felt the same way
it's
about the
not always the
SpongeBob movie.
same. It's not usually the same authors that write the movies.
Right, 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 right.
So sometimes they'll
Well,
give like some of the characters a different special move or something, and then that will
yeah.
never show up again.
You ever watch any of the Street Fighter anime?
No.
I remember watching a movie back in the day at Sean's house. It was pretty sweet.
Maybe that can be a future episode. But on that note, what's next week? Are we going to do a couple episodes of Cobra Kai and a couple episodes of Hajime no Ippo, or are we changing up completely? Just in
Uh,
case
Good question.
the listeners want to follow along.
Yeah, if this is going to be a video book club, I mean, we could certainly stick to what we're doing. Since I've already watched Cobra Kai and you've already watched this, that means we're only watching
I've
one thing.
actually only seen certain scenes of it. That's the first episode I watched.
Oh, so we're all caught up together.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. I mean, we can do something new. We can continue with this. This was fun. Whatever. It's a good excuse to watch something, to watch
Yeah.
a show.
Why don't we try and do episodes 2 and 3 of both Cobra Kai and Hajime no Ippo?
Great idea. Okay, sounds awesome.
All
And
right.
again, Hajime no Ippo is right on YouTube. I'm sure there's a lot of places to find it, but the one that you sent me, the username was Takamura. It only has like 7,500 subscribers, but it has all, I guess, season 1 and season 2 episodes
Yeah. So, and
in English subtitles.
if you just end up searching for it, click the videos that are English sub, not dub.
Yeah, sub not dub. And Cobra Kai is on Netflix. I imagine it might still be on YouTube. I don't know how that works. I haven't searched for it, but it's definitely on Netflix.
And definitely do English dubbed on that one.
Yeah.
And speaking of subbed, why don't you go ahead and click that subscribe button down below?
Ring that bell and tell a friend.
And don't be a
Tell two
dub.
friends.
Don't be a dub.
Tell 3 friends. And if your friends don't like it, find new friends.
Yeah, or just make a few and then, or make a few. Why don't you get a few logins to YouTube? Make a few
Oh
email
yeah, just
addresses.
make a bunch of different logins and just give us a thumbs up and likes and subscribes.
Yeah, make sure you
And
watch it
then
under each login.
yeah, just do some sort of LAN attack hacking system where you just keep watching the video over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, India, you heard
Yeah,
us.
India. Yeah, we'll pay for likes like the Fighter and the Kid podcast.
Yeah.
Or views or both. I'm sure it's not that cheap or that expensive.
Yeah, how hard can it be? It's just a
What'd you
bot.
think about that WandaVision trailer? Pretty nuts, huh?
Didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No.
Yeah, it's kind of what I thought it was going to be, but it's very weird and
They are who we thought they were.
ba, 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 bra.
All
It's
right.
a great. There's a great guest appearance. I had no idea she was going to be in it, but it's so great that she's in it since it's supposed to be like a sitcom type feel for the first couple episodes in Wanda's
Sitcom.
constructed world. Well, to real quick, so the whole premise is Vision obviously died in Infinity War, didn't come back in Endgame because he really died, like a couple other characters. Wanda sort of loses her mind, is more powerful than ever, creates a fake town, and each episode is a different type of sitcom. So the first one will be like a 50s theme sitcom in black and white, then 60s, then 70s, then 80s, like a Full House type thing, and then
Or
apparently,
Karate Kid.
uh, not movie sitcom. So it's all shot on like a stage. That's why there aren't any leaks coming out because it's all just on a stage,
Oh,
not in front.
gotcha.
You know what I mean? But then
Yeah.
apparently, uh, they're gonna try and snap her out of it because she's creating beings that don't exist and really not understanding her powers. And then the second half of the series will probably be more like a big movie or something. But the trailer only had to do with the sitcom stuff, which was super weird, but awesomely weird. Apparently, it has more views than the Infinity War trailer did, which had the previous record of the amount of views in 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, 24-hour traffic surpasses Avengers.
It's crazy.
Watch it. We'll talk about it next time.
Sounds good.
I'm Billy,
And I'm Brian.
and this was the Beer in the Bun.
Deuces.
If you have any ideas for things we should watch, comment below. And if it's the Harley Quinn show, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a fun one. So I've heard. Peace.
Bye.